and right to equality, yet 60,000 hold more wealth than half of humanity. Is it right? So this is an actual statistic that about 60,000 people in this world hold 3 times the amount of wealth 50% of humanity holds in this world. It was in the news literally 2 days ago. And we say about the right of equality, but this is what the statistics are. And social scientists are saying this divide is so heavy, so big, and the policies are such that it's only going to become deeper. But a mere 60,000 people in this entire world hold 3 times more wealth than 50% of Earth's population. We'll keep going. We give the right to pray, yet we have to pay so hard just to find a moment to pray. Yes, we have the right, but where is the time? Because we're struggling so hard just to make ends meet. It's very difficult. And some of us may have some situation of privilege, but we know there are many people, even those who have so-called good jobs, that they have to keep 2-3 jobs. Freedom of thought, yet no freedom from the thoughts that torment us. Is it right? So we have said there is freedom of thought, but the knowledge of a lifestyle that gives you freedom from mental struggles is not there. No matter who you are, I have seen top-notch people and I've seen kids, like everybody. People struggle. At every level you find people who struggle with peace of mind. I'm saying this to kind of help us see that although we like to think that we know everything, it would be nice to have the humility to see that maybe there is some wisdom for us to gain. And I wanted to read this before we approach the Bhagavad Gita so we can actually approach it with that mindset that maybe I do have some. The problem with most of us, and I would say even in this room for most of us, not just outside, not like with her, we don't think we need anybody to tell us what to do. We think we know. And when you know, knowledge, the door's closed. When we feel like, it's not like an admittance of a concept. I'm not looking for someone to go like, yes, I agree with you. It's actually a genuine feeling, I actually don't know what I'm doing with my life. And in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter is conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And Arjuna is kind of like, he's trying to assess the situation based on his knowledge and experience. He's saying this is wrong, that. And by the beginning of second chapter, after all of his top class Ivy League school analysis, he realizes that with his intelligence, which is pretty high grade, he's not able to get to the bottom of this puzzle. The fact, sometimes we think it's smart to have it together, but actually it takes a great deal of smartness to see that we don't have it together. It takes even more smartness to see that we don't have it together. It doesn't make us small to admit it. It makes us actually quite big to admit that we don't know. And that's with that heart of humility, when you approach a teacher, knowledge and wisdom will flow. The right to freedom, right to education. Yet, nothing teaches us what is real freedom. Is it right? Yes, we have the right to freedom, but what do we define freedom as? Freedom to shop. Freedom to have a bank account. Freedom to have the right to vote. Our idea of freedom is that you can leave the home, but we don't see that in our attempts to leave the home and enjoy the world, we are bound to this world and bound to this body. And we are bound to repeated birth and death. We're not able to see that. So, moving on. Right to food, and we turn others into our food. Is it right? So, there's so much going on in the name of animal slaughter in this world. Organized, mass scale. It has never been like this. Yes, people went and hunted together as a tribe, but that is not factory farming. Freedom of movement, and we move freely downward into darker and darker modes. Adhau gachanti tamasa. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, if you live in the mode of goodness, urdhvam gachanti, if you sattvasta, if you're in the mode of goodness, you live your mind in the mode of goodness, you go upwards to the higher planets. Madhye tishtanti rajasa, that if you're in the mode of passion, go, achieve, you remain in the middle planetary systems like the earth. Jaganna gunavartasya adhau gachanti tamasa. Those who live a life of Jagannagunrut, I think horrible activities like mass slaughter, for example, the adhau gachanti tamasa, you go downwards to the lower and lower planets. And so, keeping on, is it right? Right to pursue happiness, yet no guidance on what happiness truly is. Right? If I go around and give everybody a piece of paper and ask you to write down what is happiness, everyone's going to write something different. And if I go outside and I do a survey, and I sometimes do that, I'll meet people, I'm outside, I'm giving books and meditation knowledge. So I meet people, I'll ask them, everybody, like if you ever join me on a Saturday, you'll see, everybody will give you a completely different answer of what happiness is. And if you've studied science, to standardize, to achieve, you need to have a common definition. To have a common definition, so everyone's just jumping higher and higher, working harder and harder, and in the end feeling like, I'm not good enough to get it. So it's like we've set a goal, call it the freedom, set it as a goal, but have we made our lives more complicated because we have not defined it? And who can define it because no one has general knowledge, so-called? There is knowledge of it. I'm not saying nobody has it. I have to correct myself. I'm not saying nobody has it, but my point is it's not commonly available. It's not commonly agreed upon. So we read on. The right to development. Building machines and dollars. Busy developing bricks and clicks. But what about the human plight? No idea of the self needing development. So we are building buildings. When there was yes, on a click you can build a business. But what about the human plight? What about the human? Because, we're thinking right to development means developing buildings, economic development, but we are forgetting the self that needs development. Is it right? Now here's what I thought. Wave your magic wand, grant yourself every imaginable right. So go ahead and in your mind, if you want to imagine, go ahead. Wave your magic wand, grant yourself every imaginable right. Then ask, what would you even do with all that you found? Join the gang where might is right? Is it right? So yes, if you had all of these rights, say for example, magically we figured out a way that everyone has all the fundamental human rights. Then equipped with these rights, what do we do in this world? We go ahead in this world and we try to find enjoyment for the senses. And that is the first reason why we are in this plight. Because our idea of life's purpose is that we have to become happy through the pleasure of the senses. I know we have grand ideas for what happiness is, but if you actually distill it down to its core, you will see either it's something to do with the eyes looking at something beautiful, ears, mind, something. The senses need a contact with a sense object, and that's what we're on. So with all these, back to the drawing board, right? We started with the world's a place of suffering, so we need rights. Then we get all these rights. What do? We try to enjoy in the prison. But prison is not a place of enjoyment. If you really have all the rights, then be like, wait, where am I? You need to be intelligent to see, like, where am I? Like, is this where I belong? Like, so just the rights in itself, I'll just keep going with it. Human rights are good, but are humans right? What are we protecting? What are we fighting for? We claim the right to life, yet don't know what life is meant for. And we forget the greatest of all rights, the right to overcome death. So there is so much focus on the right to live. But what about the right to not die? Why is our attention not going to this? And this is where the yoga knowledge comes in. This is why we're going to go to the Bhagavad Gita now. I just wanted to build a tempo for it. That we are so focused on the right to live. Within our means, no judgment for that person who has more means, but within our means, the activity might be different. I might not be taking some genetic implant, but I am doing what I can. And what's the goal? Elongate life. And what are you going to do with a long life? The same thing you did with the short life. Try to enjoy your senses. The same thing Spider-Man did with his yogic powers. His actual activity did not change. He's wanting a girl before that, wanting the girl after that. Till we deal with our desires. until we deal with the desire problem, power alone, rights alone will not help us. We need to think about the main reality that with all these rights, die we must. So a yogi, an intelligent person, it takes intelligence, it takes courage, will think, wait, I don't want to be dying again and again. Why am I going through this cycle? Why am I struggling so hard just to die and be born again? So the yoga text will say the most important human right is punarjanma jayaye. You should win over, have victory over repeated birth and death. Punarjanma. You don't want to be born again. Victory over that is real fun. That is the right. Our right as human being is to learn how to overcome repeated birth and death. That is our biggest right. A cat, a dog cannot do that. They can also have the right to food. They can also have the right to freedom. They can also have the right to movement. All of those rights can be enjoyed in every species of life. But the right to overcome birth and death, that right is very unique. The yoga text explained human form of life is a unique form of life where you have this right. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukha dosha anuvartanam. Birth, death, old age, disease. These are the causes of miseries in this world. No amount of rights will be able to protect you from them. So, ahara nidra bhaya maithunascha. Ahara means food, nidra means sleep, bhaya means fear, and maithuna means procreation. These things, samanyaveta pashupat narana, these things are common between animals and human beings. So if all of your life's energy is going simply in getting food, sleeping, or not being able to sleep, bhaya, fear, so building weapons, homes, whatever is protecting you from fear, that impulse, bhaya, maithuna, procreation, mating, raising children, whatever, everything that is a product of procreation. If these four activities are occupying your entire life, samanyavetat pashupat narana, that is animal life. I'll say one last point, before we read the Bible, last point. Human life can be of three types. You have to separate human body from human life. Take this point back with you if you can and meditate on this. Human body is just like animal has a body, you have a body, human body is one thing. In this human body, you can have a human life, an animal life, or a spiritual life. You remember I said that before? So number one, when your primary occupation is eating, sleeping, mating, defending, the activities that are easily available in human life, and also when you are doing these things without regulation, like animal slaughter, for example, it's unregulated activity. It's not. So you're doing these activities of meat eating, intoxication. When these activities are predominating your life, then it is animal life in human body. Yes, you're in human body, but the experience you're having is that of animal pleasures. That's what we say, and you say that too, right? Be an animal or animalistic instinct. What's your animal? We use those words, but the yoga text actually explain that is, we are experiencing animal life in human body. Human life in human body begins after no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. These rules actually free us from from animal concept of life, and human life begins in human body. Now that is not the full potential of human body though. Spiritual life in human body is a full potential of human body. Pancham Purushartha, love of God, I had explained it last time. How to learn to love God. This is why you go to any country, any civilization, there's some idea of God. Everybody's trying in some way. Because human life's maximum potential is to learn to love the Supreme. So things become very difficult when we're trying to find pleasure and variety. Because it becomes stale. So we want to find spiritual life in human body. That is our real right. So while defending all these human rights, let's not forget the real luxury, the real right of a human being in this body.